I'll try to guide you the best that I can if you need some feedback. But for each of you, I would recommend get a sample, give them a setting that's important to you, and get a sketch. Ask them to change something. Even if you look at it and you go, oh my God, this is perfect. Have them do some changes so that you see how quickly they gave you the sample, how well they communicated, how well they respond to what you've requested that they change, and then move forward and let them do the coloring so that you can see the full color sample. The sample brief is just one scene, something that's really important to you. And hopefully it has some sort of emotion that you want to convey, because you want to evaluate how well does this illustrator provide the emotion that you are asking for. If I'm doing a backyard kind of view, then it's helpful for me to say, this is a sample of a backyard in New England where the story takes place. And you're going to find you're attracted to one style better than the other, or you're drawn to something about the illustrator that will just make them shine. The sooner you start with the samples and get that part rolling, the easier it's going to be to transition into your illustrations without losing too much time. I gave them all of my changes, and there were probably half a dozen different things. They'll come back to me with those updated. And if there's any miscommunication or anything else that was introduced by them making the changes, I'll have one more round to say, oh, one more little tweak. Now, if you get stuck or you need other opinions, that's what this group is for. I do have some sample briefs that I can share. You want to give them a little bit of an overview, and you can just put that in a document along with some reference images, and then send that over. And once your story is completely finalized, you're going to copyright your story, and then you're going to start adding Illustrator notes. And that is called illustration brief. So you're going to give your illustrator end-to-end notes, some reference images, and that's going to be a bit of work to prepare that for your illustrator. And then once you've got the sample, the first thing that the illustrator gives is this storyboard. A storyboard should take you from beginning to end of your book. It's rough. You can see the flow of your story. You're able to understand what the illustrator has in mind, and you're able to interact and say yay or nay. I love this. Could we tweak that? And this is where we begin. So if you have an illustrator that wants to go from sketch to full color and they don't do the storyboard end to end for you, that's usually the sign of a novice illustrator. So storyboard is the first piece.
As soon as I saw it, I could tell exactly what the pictures were going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just so excited, and I was like, yep, let's do it. So that was one of the first things I got. And then this is the first page that he sent me. So this is my main character, Betty.
I love this stage when you start getting the color illustrations.
I went through all of April's program just waiting, and right at the last week, I started getting stuff back. So yeah, I got to watch everybody else go through all their fun stuff, but it was super fun. Being a novice writer, I had a crowd in my book, and that's usually very expensive.
The more characters, the more things you have going on, typically the more it's going to cost.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's just going to be beautiful. And I wish you all the luck on this.
I just love the action. It's almost like watching a film. And it's just so professional. When you think of a lot that's out there, the difference between what we see so much and then a real professional illustrator.
Absolutely true. And yes, you can get simple illustrations for $20 or $50 a page, but you're not going to get that level of quality. I recommend not skimping on illustrations, but also in this kind of an environment where we're here together for 12 weeks, a good part of that is going to be working with your illustrator. So we want to find an illustrator, and we want to get into the illustration sooner rather than later. Once your edit is finished and you've got your manuscript, you're moving forward with your illustrator, and they already know this is an expedited process. We want to be finished in the 12 weeks. And when you get to that point where you have that beautiful illustration brief. Now you can use Excel, PowerPoint, Word, use anything you feel comfortable with. All it matters is that you have the text, your notes or comments, and any reference images that you want. Doesn't matter if you're not used to Excel, don't use it. If you're used to Publisher, use that, whatever's your tool of choice. But once you've got all of that ready, it's time to meet with the illustrator and walk through the whole thing. So you walk through the whole story, you get to tell them about what's important, about the emotions, about the story, and they get to ask some questions. And then at the end of it all, then that's where they go off and they create the storyboard for you. And within usually a week or so, you have that beautiful storyboard to get started. You are at a point now, you're working closely with your illustrator. You're going to be partnering and bringing in your graphic designer to look at some things and give you some feedback. The other thing that you're going to want to do while the illustrations are in the hands of capable people who are moving forward, we're going to be like, what do we do now? The editing's done, the illustrations out of my hands. Really focus on marketing. We're going to be building marketing plans. We're going to be building a press kit. We're going to be making lists of schools you want to contact or libraries, things like that. So that's where we're going to spend a good part of our time. And we're going to have lots of activities and things to do around the topic of marketing.